Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Free Game Friday. This question came from a father at freegamefriday.com. That's freegamefriday.com. If you have a question that you would like answered here on our Free Game Friday segments, go to freegamefriday.com and submit your question. I'm going to take the time to share this out, tag a father, a uncle, a brother, a cousin, a husband, boyfriend, child's father, anyone you know that may need this information. You never know who needs to hear a Free Game Friday segment, so make sure you take the time to share it out, and I am going to make sure that I do the same. And as always, guys, thank you guys for coming on and joining me. I hope everyone is staying safe out there, washing their hands and practicing social distancing. Share this out. You know, tag a father if they may need this information or they are in danger of being found in contempt of court. All right. So I have shared this out. Okay. So this question was pretty interesting. The question or the topic is basically, I pay my child support obligations on time, or I pay my child support obligations in full, if not more. However, I need to go to court for a motion for contempt because the other party, obviously, or the state of Florida, has filed a motion for contempt on the father who has written in. So what a lot of people don't know, and I was doing a consultation this week, and the father could not understand why he was ordered to pay, let's just say his retroactive or his back pay amount was $10,000, but now 5 years later the amount is $20,000. So one thing I want to know is that interest accrues on child support every single day. A lot of people don't know that. It's not going to be the same amount because interest is going to accrue on the child support. It's almost like a credit card. The faster you pay your balance off, the lower amount that you're going to pay in total because interest stops accruing. However, the longer it takes you to pay, the more you're going to end up paying in the end because interest has accrued. In the state of Florida, we have statutory interest, and that means that interest accrues at a daily rate that's set by statute. So it's about 6% per year. If you look at it in its totality, it's about 6%, and it changes on a monthly basis, or it can change on a 2 months, it can change every 3 months, but daily interest accrues almost like the IRS. You know, not as intense, but the annual amount, if you break it down, the annual amount is about 6%. So you're never going to have the total amount due because it's going to change every single day. So the faster you pay off of your arrears, the less you'll pay in the end. So for this father, one of the reasons could be, number one, is that interest has accrued and you have interest that is causing your back pay amount or your retroactive or arrears amount to be still there. There is not a zero balance because you have interest accrued, which is most commonly why that you still have a balance, is because of that interest that has accrued. But a second reason could be you have an income deduction order. So child support, well, let's talk about income deduction orders. If you are on and you are receiving child support and you're watching today, not receiving, but just say hypothetically, if you were to receive child support, which would you prefer? To get your money via the state of Florida and have them pay it to you via a card or via your account? Or would you prefer that the father or the party paying for child support, would you prefer that they pay you directly? So number one, if you would prefer to be paid by the state of Florida, your child support, put a 1 in the comments. If you prefer to be paid directly by the father, say the father can just give you the check. He can deposit it into your bank account. He can cash app you on the 15th of every month or whatever the agreement. Would you, if you prefer direct pay from father, put a 2 in the comments. And this is just hypothetically. You can put whatever hypothetical situation that you like. But if you were to get paid child support, would you prefer the state of Florida to pay you, or would you prefer direct pay? If you are paying child support, would you prefer to pay your child support directly, or would you prefer the state take it out of your check? You can answer either one. I would like to see what the comments are, because sometimes this is one of the items that we have to agree on when we're in mediation or when we're trying to settle a case. One of the main contentious areas is one party wants to direct pay, the other party may want to receive their money from the state of Florida. Some of them have their benefits. Some moms, they want their money directly because it's faster. The state of Florida is going to take a lot longer to give you your money. You still have the same enforcement in terms of a motion for contempt. So even if you're a direct pay recipient, you can still file a motion for contempt on the party that's not paying. Doesn't mean anything that it's not coming out of the person's check. So answer those questions while I am discussing the second reason why this father could potentially be in contempt, and that is because of the income deduction order. So the income deduction order is what the state uses to extract the money out of the check. They send the income deduction orders to the employer and direct them to take the amount of child support out of the payer's check based on how they're getting paid. So if you're getting paid weekly, then your $400 will get taken out every week. If you are getting paid bi-weekly, it'll get taken out bi-weekly. If you're getting paid monthly, it'll get taken out monthly. So it's always based on how you get paid if it's an income deduction order. So the law states that only a certain percentage of your check can be taken for child support purposes. So if you're ordered to pay $1,000 a month in child support, they're going to look at that. Your employer is supposed to look at that on a bi-weekly or weekly basis based on how you're getting paid. And they only can take 50 to 60% of the amount that you're getting paid on that check, depending on two factors. If you're supporting a current spouse or supporting a current child, a dependent child that's not of the relationship that you're on child support for. So a little technical, but not really. So if you have a current wife and she's a dependent, or you have another outside dependent and you report that, then they only can take 50% of your income, just 50% of your income. So if you got $500 and you owe $1,000, they only can take $500 for that weekly period. So sometimes if you're supposed to say, some women, when they call me, they say, hey, like, I'm not getting all my child support, I'm supposed to be getting this amount. I'm like, well, they only can take a certain amount out of the payer's check. So that's why you're likely not getting the full amount, because they only can take so much. If the person that's paying has no dependents whatsoever, then they can take up to 60% of the check. And sometimes that's devastating. 60% is a lot. So when they take up to 60% of the check, they can also take an additional 5% if there is arrears on the case. So they can take an additional 5%. So really up to 65% or 55%, determining whether the payer has a current spouse, independent, or current spouse or a dependent, whichever. That is not a part of this case. And it has to be reported to your employer. If you don't report any dependents, then your employer is not authorized to take the lower percentage, which would be the 50%. So if you don't have any kids other than the child that you're on child support for, they can take up to 65% if you have arrears that are at least 12 weeks past due. That is what the law says. So for you, to answer your question in short, then you likely could have arrears payment or past due balance because of 1, interest, and 2, because of the percentage that was taken out of your check from your employer did not cover the total amount of child support due. And if that's the case, you're supposed to go online and make your payment. Even though your employer is not taking out the correct amount, that does not relinquish you of responsibility for paying the total amount of child support that is due. So if you owe $500 and your employer takes $400, you owe that $100 and you still can be found in contempt. So that is likely what could have happened. Anybody have any questions about that? And who is team direct pay? Who is team take it out of my check? Let me know which you prefer. Either way, whether you're getting the child support or whether you are paying the child support. Some men, some of my clients, they want it taken straight out. They don't want to have to remember to pay because they're just not that responsible. I have some clients that are super responsible. They transfer the money every 15th, every 1st of the month, like clockwork. They never forget. It's just something that's automated. I have some guys that they tell their bank to send the checks directly. I mean, I have seen so many different creative ways for people to remember how to pay directly, because sometimes people just don't want to be responsible to pay directly. Other times, moms don't want to be paid by income deduction because it takes so long to get paid. Like if it's the child's birthday or if it is Christmas time and you're waiting to get your child support, if you were a direct pay, you could have already received the child support, but because you're income deduction and you have to literally wait for it to process through Tallahassee in order to get to you, there is always a delay, and some people prefer to get paid in advance. Is paying a year in advance bad? I don't see why it would be bad. Sometimes people receive credits. If you receive a credit, or if they take like your take too much money and you get a credit, then they won't take out any money because you're still receiving credit. It's really not, I don't see a problem with paying in advance. You could not pay in advance if it were through your paycheck, but if you were a direct pay, you could have paid advance directly in advance up front. All right, so since there is no questions, I will see you guys back next Friday. Remember, if you have a question, www.freegamefriday.com that you would like for me to address here, I will do my best to address your questions. Again, go to www.freegamefriday.com. Remember, consultations this month are 50% off when you use the code COVID-19. That will stop on May 31st. You guys have been keeping me so busy. May 31st, it can be a phone or video consultation via Zoom. So it's up to you, but you can use the coupon code COVID-19. So if you know someone that needs to have a consultation, they are 50% off for now through May 31st. That code will expire May 31st of this month, this year. COVID-19 is the coupon code. So if you know it, share it, tag a dad they may need to have a consultation. I will do my best to assist them or lead them in the right direction. All right, guys. See you guys next Friday. And to all my moms that tune in, happy Mother's Day. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope you relax, loving your kids, loving your own mothers and daughters. Kisses to you. Have a relaxing, beautiful Mother's Day weekend.